in this video, I'm going to do a quick example of UV unwrapping. So I might not be talking a lot, I'll just be kind of going through the process and I'll just talk about it as I'm going along. So I've decided to UV unwrap this wall here, mainly because it's quite a simple wall I can do really fast. So first things first, I have the UV editor at the side here. If you've got like dual monitors, I would highly suggest to put it on the opposite screen. But for now, I'll just have it on this screen right now here. Again, you can get to UV editor by going to UV editor. So for this one, it's best to use planar mapping options. So I'll go to planar, select the little white box next to it. So let's get on with this. So I have to go around selecting the faces that I need to UV unwrap. So just quick look, see. And I'll also select the ones on the opposite side as well because again, they are in the same axes. Okay, double check. Yep, those are selected. So I would look at my little axes here and determine, yep, those are in the Z axis, so project from Z, apply, and I'm just going to kind of move these out of the way for now. I like to kind of UV it out first, have all the sort of the shells all around, and then kind of go in to do the sort of nitty gritty details. So again, just to do the top ones. It's kind of a little bit awkward in here. Same for the bottom as well. Go to, let's see, oh, there it is, just hiding over there. So those are in the Y axis because you're going to have a look at the axis here, Y being up and down, so I change it to Y. Just leave them there for now. And the last ones being, well, not the last ones, these ones here being the side ones. Just kind of hoping that we select them all. There we are. And on the opposite side as well. And we'll project from the X axis, because X being left and right. And again, I'm just going to leave this at the side for now. And then we've got to do this window here. I might just... yeah, five. The main thing with UV wrapping is just patience. I do kind of find it to be kind of like a relaxing experience. Maybe you want to put some music on the background, some nice little smooth jazz. Me, I like to kind of listen to podcasts whilst doing it because it's just kind of like a nice little thing to do. And I might have mentioned it in classes as well, but UV wrapping is just as important, if not more so, than the actual modelling. Because it is the textures that do really bring it to life. And you can't really make amazing textures unless you UV unwrap. You can only get so far with basic sort of cylindrical mapping with the texture kind of stretched across with it. It really is this process that really helps to bring them to life. So these are in the Z axes again, because forwards and backwards, so I have them there. It's not really appropriate because again it is kind of wasting a lot of space because you do have a finite amount of space there, but I'll be happy with that for now. Now I've got to do the insides. So this one, all these ones here, and the top ones as well. You can get away with that, I think. I can project in the Y because they're up and down. For now, just move them out of the way. And luckily for the last ones, just go into the UV editor and select those faces. Sometimes once you've got the last ones there, you can kind of just go, yep, these ones are missing. Ooh, I forgot all about those side ones as well. So that's a good thing. Is like once you because sometimes you might think, oh yeah, I've done everything, and then you just kind of select stuff in the UV edit, you realize, there's all these ones here that I forgot about. So it's kind of good to have it there as well, because sometimes you might see these little edges or lines, and you know the small little things you might sometimes forget about. So I completely forgot about the outside rim around here. So it's good that I selected all those, so I didn't forget about those. Is that all deselected? Yeah, that's all deselected. So those sides there are selected, so they're in the x-axis because they're left and right. So yeah, got them there. Gonna move them out of the way. And now I can do these ones here. Actually, I'm wondering, I wonder if I can actually do the cylindrical mapping with these. No, it doesn't really do a great job. Maybe if I put it on its side. Just at the moment, just kind of experimenting. When you are doing cylindrical mapping, it is based on like how it stands or how flat it is. So sometimes it might be better to kind of move your object around a little bit. I don't think this is going to work, to be fair, but I'm just going to see what happens. That's not a bad job. Don't think I would use it, but because it would mean I had to kind of stretch it across. But then again, I could cut it. You know what? We'll use it for now. I mean, this side thing here, not a lot of players are going to see it. It's kind of small compared to everything else, so I can kind of get away with people not really seeing it, especially the top parts, because I don't think the player's ever going to really get on top and go really, really super close to it. So I can kind of get away with that. So we'll go for that for now. I could actually probably do the same thing with these actually as well if I wanted to. You know, because it would save a lot of space because it's kind of using a while that. But for now, we're going to just kind of keep with it because again, this is quite a quick tutorial, a quick demonstration. It's not really me kind of really putting into sort of. It's me kind of rushing it, if anything else. I'd put a lot more kind of thought into this if I was doing it properly, but for the sake of this video and not to waste your time, I'm just kind of going through it as fast as I can. Okay, so that's all UV unwrapped. I've got my UV shells all the way across here. So now I'll just start moving them around and just kind of fixing them. So yeah, just make sure that's flipped appropriately. Yep. Same with that. Yep. And I always like to make sure that they're close together so I know what's what. So I might start moving these things around just to make life a little easier. So that's the bottom there, isn't it? So that should be alright. I think we're not going to look. Yeah, that's right. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting it and pressing F in the perspective view because it will zoom into whatever is selected or what the corresponding UVs are. Yep, perfect. Okay, so everything. Almost forgot about this. Everything seems to be completely UV unwrapped. Everything is kind of ready to go now. So it's time to start scaling these down. What I like to do is I like to scale down the main sort of shape itself. So these ones here I'm going to scale down uniformly because I'm pretty sure some of these, actually the ones outside, I'll just start off with these ones here. So for instance, these two shells here, they're exactly the same size because again I UV wrap them at the same time, and they're both in the same axes as well. So what I like to do is I don't want to just scale one down at a time because then I got to kind of like go in and kind of make sure that that's also the kind of the same UV scale. The UV shell also scaled down appropriately as well. But yeah, I'll just scale down both of them at the same time because that way it's a lot easier. So these ones will scale down at the same time. Might just start moving it into this grid here as well. So yeah, and you can kind of see that the squares are kind of stretched across as well. So I need to kind of move it, just scale them out a little bit. So yeah, that looks kind of good. So that's all right. Now I've just got to do the sides and the top as well. So these sides, again, I'm selecting both of them because they're both the same object. So scale them down, bring them over here. So these sides need to kind of equally match up to the same sort of height and depth of these here. So I'll use this one. I think use that one. kind of like a base for it. Just go down a little bit like that. It is still a little bit tall. But I think that'll be alright. I just got kind of scale it in a little bit. Actually, probably best to look at the back one here because that's straight. So it kind of gives me a better idea with it. Just got to kind of compare it a little bit. Okay, so zoom in a little bit closer to it. Same here as well. See, line out, just kind of get an idea. Is it? Yeah, that looks. Yeah, I think that's fine. So what I'll do is I'll line this one up here. I kind of inadvertently did that as well. But I think I might need some slight movements just to kind of get it there. I think on that side it's fine. This one might need moving around a little bit. Which means this might need some slight movements. Yeah, so it's got to zoom in a little bit closer to it. So look. Perfect. No. Alright. And this side's got kind of destroyed walls, so if I was going to texture it, I'd kind of put some debris on there. So I'm not completely fussed about it lining up that much because I don't think players were going to be able to notice because again it is kind of destroyed and there's also some debris on it. But I think that will be fine. Yeah, that lines up quite well. Now it's got to do the top and bottom ones here as well. Again, same sort of thing. The bottom one, actually, I could delete that bottom one, thinking about it. Mainly because I think the players are going to see it. So for the sake of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of it. Because you have to kind of save on these polygons as well. So I don't think the players are ever going to see that bottom. So I think for me, it's kind of better just to kind of get rid of it, thinking about it. Again, it's the whole idea of kind of like saving on polygons. I might need to kind of scale this down a little bit, but for now I'll just kind of work up here. Okay, so to zoom in, just see if I've kind of got the same sort of length on it. I think, yeah, that's about right. Then a little bit of a zoom into it as well. I need to kind of stretch it a little bit. A lot of times you got to kind of eyeball it and say, does it look about right? Almost. I think just a little bit more. Yeah, perfect. And that lines up quite well. So I'm going to put that at the bottom here. And again, I'm not really fussed about this one lining up specifically, but I've actually kind of got it like almost accidentally lined up as well. So I might just kind of go in and fix it. You can kind of see as well, it is kind of going off just a little bit, so I might need to kind of scale it down just ever so slightly, just to kind of get it to line up. It's almost there. Okay. So look. It's just a little bit more. Perfect. That kind of lines up very well. That's basically the same sort of size. Okay, so now it's just these interior parts here, the actual window itself. And I can pretty much determine how much detail this is going to have because it's not lining up with anything else right now. So I have to kind of think about how much space have I got left to mess around with. I might need to kind of cut this up if I need to. I've also got these side parts there as well that I have to kind of focus on as well. So I need to kind of think about it. Again, that's kind of the hardest thing, is kind of getting everything to fit on that grid sometimes. Like I said, there is sometimes you got to kind of compromise in detail sometimes. But the main thing is, once you take a UV snapshot, as I've said before, you can kind of determine the resolution. So The only thing you got to worry about is that you might have to compromise a little bit by scaling stuff down a little bit. But again, once you take a UV snapshot, you can determine how much detail that image is going to have. So you can say it's going to be like a 4K, 8K, or maybe like a sub HD texture size. So that's entirely up to you. But I think I might just base it on this here. So something like that would be alright. And the squares, so yeah, something like that could be okay. Now I've got to do these side parts over here. Do 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 do. If I haven't mentioned it, these ones here are the rotation tools. You can rotate clockwise or counterclockwise, and the good thing is that it does it in 90-degree angles. So it's 45 degrees. So if I press it again, 90 degrees that way. It's a lot better than just using the sort of manual sort of scale rotation. I always use these. I never use the manual rotations. Yeah, should be alright. These side ones don't really that much detail, so I can kind of have these really, really small. Not too small. Actually, one thing I might do is I might just find where the top is and kind of cut it. So these ones here. So look, yeah. That edge and that edge, I believe. Cut UVs. Move that. Move that. So these two should perfect. Move and so. Might do the same for the bottom as well. Okay. Top, bottom, and the two sides there. I might do the same for the top one as well. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting the edges in the actual scene itself and then cutting them. Should have done that first actually, because that's a way easier way than doing it than me trying to guess. Move some UVs. Start with the side ones, so that. That one being the top and bottom one. Those ones there. Just keep it separate for now. And probably best to do it for this one as well, I think. Because again, I'm kind of running out of space there, so I'm going to kind of need to cut these up. do it all together at the same time. So okay, so just cut UVs. I've got that separate and those two separate, so now I can just move them together like that to kind of save on some space. Don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm resisting the urge to sing. Just kind of a way to kind of pass the time, just kind of relax and chill. Alright, let's just get going with downscaling these here. I think I can get those in there like that. Just notice these are just as much same amount of detail as the actual walls. So I might make them a little bit smaller. Same with these as well. Like they're way too big, and the player's never going to see that amount of detail as well. So they can be quite smallish. But I may need to elongate these a little bit. Just kind of make them fit and make them more appropriate. I'm going to base them off that shell there. Just make them a little bit longer. Just a little bit shorter. See how that looks. Yeah, that seems about right. There's a slight overlap there, but I've got enough room there so I can kind of move these up a little bit. Squash them a little bit. Select these. And just move these a bit closer. You may want to be careful about moving things really, really close because it can be a bit of a pain when it comes to Photoshop, because you have to kind of go in and make sure that it doesn't overlap onto that, and having that little bit of space there can be quite tedious to kind of delete those things there. But again, like I said, you've got a limited amount of space to work with, so sometimes you need to kind of take that risk just to get the high detail that you want. Let's move these right to the bottom. Yeah, I'm not that fussed about it lining up with the sides there because I don't think the players are ever going to see it, so it's not that big of an issue for me right now. But what is getting these down to size and make sure they fit. I may just put them in there because, again, I don't want to kind of waste space. I'm kind of relying on everything on the side here, so I think I should be able to put these in there. Actually, probably better for me to not to actually cut these actually. Probably been likely just to kind of just scale them down to make them fit in there. That's literally because they're just making the same sort of shape. Oh well. That would have been actually easier. But again, this is kind of like a rush job right now. I'm trying to get it done as fast as possible. Sometimes you might find you might need to cut corners. Game devs do it all the time. It's nothing uncommon. If you're a perfectionist or if you've got any sort of like OCD, like you need to make sure it's exactly square, then this is not. This is going to be kind of like an arduous task, if anything else. I feel like I should play the Rocky theme once I've done this. Da, 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 da. Yay! I've done it. There we go. So that took longer than I thought it should have. So yeah, you can see here you got kind of got the idea of the process of UV wrapping from start to finish. So everything's in there now. So what we'd have to do is go to polygons. Make sure you're in object mode first. Object mode, select your object. Polygons, UV snapshot. Save it to wherever you want to. Give it any sort of resolution that you want. What I always say is always start off big and then reduce later, because again you are using pixels and you can't really upscale pixels, so it will look kind of like blurry if you kind of took like a 512 map and scale it up to like 1024. So you always kind of want to go one size above what you want. So for instance, looking at this wall here, I might say the final product might be a 2048 map, but I'm going to work in a higher one and then reduce later, see what works. Because again, you don't want to make it too big to where no one's going to tell the difference between the detail, because you're wasting memory as well. So you kind of have to make that sort of judgment call yourself. But always try to go high and then go low later. So I always say 2048 or 4086 as a good sort of like starting point. Because you never need to go higher than that right now. Because 2048 is kind of like 4K textures. You might want to go a bit higher because again with PS4 Pro and Scorpio, we are getting 4K textures. So you may need to kind of go a bit above that now to kind of scale down later as well. But that's the whole process of UV wrapping from start to finish. Again, I would say to kind of practice on your own models you might have made for your FMP or for your 3D environment that you're doing for Unit 66, 67, 68. Try it out. Again, you can kind of see the process there. It can take a bit of time, but again, the whole idea is practice, practice, practice. UV wrapping is just as important, if not more, than the actual modeling itself.